We've been getting a ton of news and updates on the upcoming Avatar films, so let's go ahead and break it all down. So hopefully a lot of you have heard by now, but they have officially delayed all of the upcoming Avatar films. Avatar 3 has been pushed back to December 19th of 2025. Avatar 4 has been pushed back to December 21st of 2029. And the last one, Avatar 5, has been pushed back to December 19th of 2031. Yeah, so we're gonna have to wait almost a full decade for the final Avatar film, but I'm kind of happy. I'm okay with it. Yes, I want it to come sooner, but this really means that they're gonna take their time. They're gonna make sure that this movie is as good and hopefully better than the previous two Avatar films, because it's gonna be hard to top it. I think Avatar: The Way of Water is just so visually beautiful. It's just so surreal how good they can make those movies look. Hopefully, you know, they up the story, they make it a little bit more interesting. I do think The Way of Water is more interesting than the first Avatar. Just the implementation of the children and Quaritch as a Na'vi, or not a Na'vi, but an Avatar. I think it just makes the movie a little bit more interesting, as well as the water adaptation. I think it makes the movie a bit more interesting. So I do enjoy The Way of Water more than the original Avatar, and I hope they can continue that trend of making it more interesting and appealing. But nonetheless, we're still gonna have to wait a while so we can break down all of the theories and such. So John Landau, who's a producer on the Avatar films, did put out an image on Instagram, and it kind of gives us a look at what's to come. Now, at first I didn't think much of it. I thought it was just Jake and Neytiri of the Metkayina clan. But the more I looked at it, the more I realized they're not at the Metkayina. This isn't the reef. This isn't the water. What it appears to be is a snowy biome on Pandora, which in one of the bonus features for Avatar: The Way of Water, they said that there are multiple biomes. There's a snowy part, there's a desert part, there's the forest, obviously, and the water, but we haven't explored like the desert and the snow biome. So clearly we're going to be diving into that, and I would guess the next Avatar, because that's what they have filmed mostly. They do have parts of Avatar 4 filmed, but you know, they have Avatar 3 filmed, and they're starting to, you know, finish it and edit it. So that it would make sense that that's what this is from. Yeah, it looks like we're gonna be visiting another part of Pandora, which I think is interesting. I love exploring Pandora. It just seems like there's something new wherever we go. So can't wait to see what they do there. Why we travel there. So it's gonna be very interesting. I also think it's like an interesting contrast from the fire people, because one of the big things about this movie is that we're being introduced to a fire tribe that aren't all the nicest Na'vi. They say some of them are bad, some of them are evil. So it'll be interesting to see that as well. Now, as interesting as that is, I think what's more interesting is if you look at the human behind Jake, it appears that he's not wearing a mask. Now, if you've seen my last Avatar breakdown, some of the script was actually revealed in one of the bonus features. I broke it all down, so if you want to go check it out, I would click somewhere up here. But one of the bigger takeaways from that script was that Spider somehow enables himself to breathe without a mask. He can breathe the Pandoran air. Now, my running theory was that Spider got injured somehow because there was something in there that said he got injured. And my prediction was that Kiri would use her powers and her connection to Awa to somehow heal Spider. Or maybe Spider just naturally adapted because he's lived on Pandora his whole life. But either way, I think it is interesting that he is breathing without a mask. And now that this other character is breathing without a mask, it kind of throws my theory off a bit, because I doubt Kiri is going to go around just like making people breathe. Like, that would be kind of weird. So maybe these humans that have stayed on Pandora with them, maybe they just naturally learn to breathe and they've adapted to the Pandoran air. However, I do think that will make it more of a threat to the humans, or by the humans, whichever way, because now the humans are going to want to go to Earth. They're going to want to take it, because now that they know they can adapt and actually live there, they're going to be more motivated to wipe out the Na'vi. So I think that is very interesting. And speaking of Spider, I think that's him in the background. It kind of looks like his hair, so I think that's him. but it couldn't. It could just be somebody else. But it does look like Spider wearing some sort of snow uniform because it'd probably be cold. I think this picture is very interesting. There's a lot to take away from it. Neytiri is wearing some paint that we've never seen her wear before. Maybe this is her after she like becomes part of the fire tribe, because I would assume that the fire tribe wear a lot of paint. It would kind of make sense. We've gotten like some tribes that wear a lot of paint from the first Avatar film, so it wouldn't surprise me if she tried to become a fire Na'vi and she learned that they are not the nicest people, so they had to go to this snowy place. But yeah, I think this image is very interesting, and it just opens a lot more doors and opens a lot more questions for Avatar 3. So yeah, man, I'm super excited. Now this is kind of old news, but there were some images revealed, and it shows Spider looking at a container very similar to the containers that they hold the Avatar bodies in. And then there's another image of him going into the like mindscape transfer thing. I forget what it's called, but the thing that like transfers your mind into the Avatar bodies. I think this is him getting an Avatar body, so I think it'll be very interesting, and maybe he does it to hook up with Kiri because there's definitely a connection there. So I think it's interesting. I think Spider is one of the more interesting characters that they've brought into Avatar. He's just so unique that he's lived on Pandora his whole life, but he's not an Avatar, he's not a Na'vi. He's just a human. So I think it is very interesting. I'm interested to see where they take his character and his relationships with his father and Jake. I think it's gonna be a very interesting dynamic and trio to kind of put together on screen. But if anybody can do it, it's James Cameron. I have full faith that he can make a fantastic franchise from these characters. So yeah, I cannot wait. But that's about all of the new news that I have on Avatar. So hopefully you all enjoyed. If you haven't seen my other Avatar breakdown of the script, I totally recommend it because there was a lot of interesting stuff in there. But